Welcome to Uniquely Loved, a celebration of authenticity and divine inspiration. Hello, my loves. I am excited to introduce to you Sapphire Moonbeam. She is the creator of her self published oracle deck, Moonbeam Magick. She creates intuitive, energy infused art and jewelry. Sapphire also teaches art, all while working as a paralegal. She has been a contributing author in several books published by Llewellyn worldwide. Sapphire, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here with you. I'm excited about our talk.
I am too, and I'm just getting so many different energies right now of excitement and joy.
Yes, like fireflies on a summer evening.
Yeah, and lots of giggles.
Yes. I think that we sometimes tend to take life a bit too seriously, and we get bogged down by responsibilities of being an adult, but we need to consider remembering what it's like to be a child and be joyous.
Oh, definitely. And for those who are listening on the podcast, Sapphire has so many amazing paintings behind her with so many colors and so much energy radiating from all of them and from her. Oh. So, could you tell us a little bit about your journey and your oracle deck and well, everything?
Well, I will tell you that I thought I was creative when I was growing up, but I never considered myself an artist. Um, I I really didn't discover my own journey with art until 2011. And I think part of my path with art was realizing I couldn't compare my gift to someone else. And my daughter, her name is Crystal. She was able to draw in a very elaborate way at a very young age. And I compared myself to her, and I knew that she was an artist, but I never considered myself one. So in 2011, I went to a craft store, grabbed a canvas, some brushes, and some oil paint. I just decided to start with oils. And I found very quickly that it was something that really was very soothing to my soul and something that I really enjoyed. And it took me to another place with when you're in a creative space, it takes you to a time without a time and a place without a place. And you have this experience of peace and like grace, and you lose track of time, and it's a very satisfying thing to do. It's something that everyone needs to do. We really are all artists, and finding out what your gift is and being able to express yourself through that gift, whether it's cooking or gardening or painting or drawing, that's like what really makes life for me be much, much more full and vibrant.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree.
I I never imagined that I would be selling, my art to people in, various places in the US and around the globe. It's just it's something that's happened, a little bit more and more over time. It's a slow and steady roll towards what I'm hoping, becomes main um my main hustle in the future, not just my side hustle. But I have taught art classes, and through art, during that movement of the wine and paint parties, I knew that mine was going to be completely different. What I do is I kind of tease my students and I say, this is the anti-wine and paint party. And everyone that walks into my class will walk out with something that is truly more reflective of their own unique spirit.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
So
I'm very passionate about. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you help them tap into their own intuition and paint while going with the flow and whatnot instead of just, hey, paint this thing.
Right. I do think that there's still a need for a wine and paint party because it helps people relax and it helps them tap into creativity. Mm-hmm. But the problem, in my view, with it, and the thing that would even shut me down is If I look over and someone has painted a sunflower or a cow or whatever it is, and I start to compare myself to someone else, there's a quote that says, comparison is the thief of joy. Mm-hmm. And I would suddenly feel small if I didn't think mine was as good as theirs, which is silly because we're all so different. We all have different things that are our gifts. It's just tapping into it and realizing, you know, what that is. I hope to actually travel more in the future and teach my art classes abroad. I do have, I hope that it's next summer, but if it's not in 2024, it'll be in 2025. I'm going to be teaching an art class in Scotland. I have a friend that I made on Facebook that has a really cool shop in Scotland, and she's going to have me come over and teach some classes. And I'm excited about it. I'm here, you know, I'm ready for it. Just when the time is right and things fall into place to make it, you know, easy for me to do it and flow with the plan of my life at that point.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome.
I'm excited about it for sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about your Oracle deck?
Yes. So I have, let's see here. I should have had it. No, here we go. This is the box. My Oracle deck is called Moonbeam Magick, and this is my self-published deck. I'm sure it shows you this like backwards in the words on the video, but it all started with me painting, and after a while, when I was letting things flow and I was coming up with artwork, I realized that it wasn't just for me. I really believed that I was doing this for more than just myself. This is the painting called Moonbeams that's on the back of every card in my deck. And there's angels. It's been a very long journey to get to this point of figuring out how to get it self-published. So if anyone out there is working on their own Oracle deck, sorry, my eyes are watering here just a little bit. I think it's all the excitement that's flowing out. You know, keep going, keep working on it. Know that no dream, you know, happens overnight. It takes a lot of time. It took me several years just to figure out how to get it self-published in a way that would be something I'd be able to sell for many years to come. This Oracle deck, as I was starting to say, I was painting things and realizing that it was all starting to flow with my spirituality, and the things that I was coming up with could be used in a way to help other people. This is the Dream Key card, and this reminds you that you have the key to your dreams, you have the key to your heart, you have the power to make whatever you want, you know, happen and come true. It's definitely dependent on you. I'm pulling another card here just to see what comes up, you know, like this is a spontaneous Oracle card reading, right? This one is a very early painting. It's called Radiate Love. And I know I did this one the first year I started painting. I think that I can paint better than this now, but this actually shows me how far I've come. And the meaning of the card is just radiating things out from your heart and showing your love and being in a space where you are, you know, coming up and showing up with the best version of yourself to share with other people. But there's other cards too. It's not all, you know, love and light. It's not all puppies and rainbows. Like there's light and dark in all things. But this card is definitely about radiating that beauty of your soul and your spirit and sharing it with other people. I could talk forever. I need to take a breath and let you like jump in here, you know, ask a few questions, because I could just talk all day.
Well, I love that card because to me it's really raw and it shows the energy flowing from the heart. So I love that card. And while you're comparing it to, the progress that you've made and everything, it shows realness.
Yeah, we all have to start somewhere, and nothing that we really want with a big dream, nothing is manifested overnight. And
Hmm.
if it is, it's not necessarily going to have the same foundation to have the strength to last, if that makes any sense. That's
Oh,
my
it
opinion.
does.
Yeah.
It heartedly does.
It's a slow and steady climb. And yeah, I'm excited about my Oracle deck because I have taken it to shows in several states around the country. I've done shows in Texas and Colorado, and I've done shows in Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, New York, Virginia Beach, where I met you, of
Yep.
course. Now, I didn't have your screen. Like, let me change the screen. I didn't see that card that you just put up there.
Oh, that was
I mean,
the guidebook that you
oh,
autographed for me. But
yes,
the card that my guides had me pull was crystals.
that's awesome.
And I
I'm
love how you
definitely,
have the energy flowing off of the crystals as well.
thank you. The energy art is something that I came across an energy artist at one of the shows that I worked at.
Hmm.
Actually, I met her before I started doing shows. I went to a medium event where the medium was on stage and connecting with people that had crossed over. And as we sat there in the audience, there was an artist there with her easel, and she was painting the energy of the room. And I
Oh,
was
wow.
fascinated by that concept, and I'd never heard of such a thing, and I was really drawn to what she painted. She painted a very abstract painting. She even had some like glitter and sparkles in it,
Hmm.
and I just thought, wow, I can do that. I can do that in my own way, and that's what inspired me to actually pick up that paintbrush and canvas and begin. The concept of pulling in on the energy of that present moment is powerful, and I
It is.
think that that's what the subject matter of the different cards. That's funny because I have mine up here too. The crystals, um, to me, that is radiating energy. Like most of my paintings have a powerful presence to them. If I can say that myself, you know.
Oh, I can feel it.
The people that are a little bit more in tune and with energy, they have told me that they can feel things before. This is the spirals card is one of my favorite messages in the deck, which is the basic message of this is even though you may feel like you're walking in circles, you are exactly where you are meant to be in this moment, right here, right now. Trust that path as it continues to unwind, spin, and unfold and evolve like on your journey. I think art has a way to speak to people in ways that they cannot really quantify. It touches everybody differently, and abstract art for the most part to me is beautiful because people can connect with it in their own way, and it doesn't have to be everyone gets the same message or meaning from artwork.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I will tell you that I have sold my Oracle deck to people in 49 of the 50 states and 9 countries around the world so far.
Awesome.
Um, but the shipping costs, unfortunately, in the day and age that we're in at the moment, cost more than the price of the deck. So somebody in another country, when they want it, they have to really want the deck
Yeah.
until I get to the point where I find a publisher to help me get it out there worldwide and distributed to people in other countries in a way that's more affordable.
Hmm.
That's the next goal. You know, it took a long time just to figure out how to get it self-published. The next goal is to get it published with a big publisher and get it out there so that it can help people, you know.
Yeah, they're amazing cards, and I use them quite often.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And when we met in Virginia Beach, oh my gosh, my daughters were just immediately drawn to your table. One, because of all the awesome colors, and two, just from the energy, because both of them are sensitive and they pick up on energy and they just gravitated towards you. It's like, oh, I need to be around her.
That's fantastic. I do seem to have a connection with the young ones. They are still more open to magic,
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't been shut off by the pressures of being a grown up.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we were talking about in the very beginning, just having a bit more joy and lightness and laughter. I will tell you, there was a young lady that went to a show that I worked at in Kansas several years ago, and she saw my name in the program, and she said, "Mom, I want to meet Sapphire Moonbeam." And she came up to my table to meet me. She was a little bit shy, about 7 or 8 years old, but it was a very sweet interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I said, you know, I'm really a fairy, but I left my wings at home, you know, like you can't see them right now. So it was such an instant connection. I'm on that level of, I'm never really going to completely grow up, you know?
Well, I don't know. To completely grow up is a complete lie, anyways, because it's
Right.
like, if we can't actually do the things that we love and that we're passionate about, then we're not grown up. We're
Going through
bored
the
and
motion.
stuck in a rut. Yeah, going through the
Right.
motions. It's like
Right.
the more we let our inner child out to play, the more we enjoy life, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, agreed. And I think we sometimes adults get caught up in what we think we're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and what is expected from others. There's no reason to conform, and just like those art classes, there's no reason for you to be like everyone else. It stifles creativity if you don't allow your authentic self to come out and shine.
Mm-hmm. And I know it took me a lot of years to finally unravel, all the shoulds and I have tos and I need to be this way, or the negative intrusive thoughts and the old programming and stuff. So it took me a lot of years to even be comfortable with who I am. And you radiate all this, awesomeness and authenticity and joy. And I absolutely love that because the energy I'm getting from you is like, okay, I'm safe to be me with you.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, when I go to a show or I'm in a moment like right here, right now, I feel like I am really in my power and in the place where I'm able to do the most good. When I am in my regular mundane life, sometimes I forget who I really am. But when I go to a show like where I met you in Virginia Beach, I am doing what I love the most, and I am sharing my gift with someone else, and it's a win-win. It's I I think it does take courage for people to kind of stand into that more authenticity of who they are.
Hmm.
And we're all going to do it differently, you know. It's not one way for everybody. It took courage on some level to change my legal name to Sapphire Moonbeam. I live in the Midwest. I am right in the middle of the country, and I got to that point where I was like, this just feels like really more of who I am, and this feels like a way to transform into the next big stage of what I want to represent me. People are excited and sometimes to buy something from Sapphire Moonbeam, and as an artist, it's a name that people like will remember, and that's what I want. I don't want them to forget. Um, you know, I can say, look me up online, and you'll find me. You know.
Oh yeah. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. My kids at first they were in high school at the time. It's been about, let's see, it's been about 12 years since I changed my legal name. My son was a freshman and my daughter was a senior at the time. And my daughter was like, cool, mom. But my son was a freshman and wasn't really sure. And he was a little bit embarrassed. But after there was a homecoming event at my daughter's school, and she was involved with it, they announced my name as as her parent, and the entire school heard it. Then my son said suddenly, like, "Hey, mom, all my friends want to talk about your name. It's like the topic of every conversation." So I said, "Yay!" Then he suddenly thought it was okay. It's definitely part of the journey for me, but it's not for everyone. We're all going to do, like, really step more into your authentic self and your power in a different way, and that's okay.
Oh yeah, totally. That's awesome though.
It's unique.
Yeah. My husband and I joke with our kids about, it's our job to embarrass you sometimes, and it's going to get worse when you're in middle school and high school.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting time period. It's so precious when they're younger, and it happens to, like, roll out, and just the time passes so quickly. So just appreciate every moment while you can.
Oh yeah,
We're
I'm
we're
gonna keep
definitely.
hugging on them.
Oh yeah, and we're in an age where we take more photos than we used to, so you'll have more documentation of them as they grow and change, and it's all
Oh yeah.
good.
And they're always grabbing my phone to look at all the different pictures and everything. My 5-year-old's just like, ah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And my 9-year-old wants to be an artist. She already is. Um,
Right.
but she's been watching videos on YouTube to learn how to draw and everything. And I'll show her your cards so she can just start, going with the flow in her way as well.
One of the things that I would suggest is that she consider painting while she listens to music, because going with that flow with music will enhance and change the painting and influence it to kind of different ways. I've done that myself. One of my early paintings is called Rock and Roll, and it's got, like, lots more grooviness to it. And there's a lot of paintings that I've created while I listen to Enya, and that very smooth, peaceful, like, flowing Zen type energy, and it really does help you get into that focused zone.
Oh yeah. Our camera is starting to go a little off.
Uh-oh.
Okay, there we go. It synced back up. It's like you started talking about music, and like there was a flood of energy going through, and it just kind of like bogged the camera down, but your voice kept coming through. um, okay, do you want to explain or talk about any of the wonderful pieces behind you?
Well, I just kind of be going off the cuff, but that's okay. That's, uh this painting right here behind me is not one that I've really shown online much, maybe just once. And I think I painted it the other direction. Um I've got a lot of paintings in my little magic cottage that are looking for homes, but when the time is right, they'll find their owners. I do sell, online on Etsy, and but I want the person that adopts my painting into their house to really cherish it, and it not just be something that they think might match their couch. But as an artist, that's an interesting point. I'll lead that into saying that there are some artists that will match your couch if that's what you want, and that's their specialty. And that people that like to coordinate a room. However, my artwork is nothing like that, and that's okay, and I'm comfortable with that. I've not really done a traditional type commission before when it comes to art. What I do is I do intuitive painting commissions, and I haven't really, put that out there for a while. I need to remind people that I do that. What I will do is, someone wants me to do a painting for them. They have to obviously like my style, and they have to trust that I will allow my intuition to help me create the painting. I concentrate on their energy, and I come up with an intuitive art piece. And the last one I did has been a while. It lives up in Pennsylvania. The lady was really, really happy with it. And she had a lot of cosmic energy around her with her guides. And it was exciting. It's not for everybody. And that, I know that. The right people do tend to find me eventually. But as far as art, honestly, I've got a lot of them here around my house. I don't remember if I named this one yet. I've named so many different art pieces over time. This one, honestly, with the eyeball back here, I really think that's for my second Oracle deck. I think I've been creating some pieces for that just over time. And I find that with creativity, that allowing it to flow when it flows and not trying to force it is really what works best for me. And even when I wrote this guidebook, I wrote it over time. I didn't just sit down and do it all in one setting. I have, speaking of writing, if you don't mind me transitioning into that, I'm a contributing author to 4 books by Llewellyn Worldwide. I've written for the 2021 as well as the 2023 Witches Spell a Day book. And in each book, I contribute 25 different spells that are just delightful suggestions about a new way to inspire you to become more empowered with your magic. Today, by the way, I wrote 2 years ago the spell a day for July 4th. I know that this will air later, as you mentioned before the video, but today's spell is about transformation and about powerful transformation. It's about utilizing the power of a firework, whether you witness them in the sky as you're sitting there and watching them, in a display, or if you're just watching them on television, or if you're envisioning just a firework. It's about powerful, transformative changes and really wanting to get out of feeling stuck or frustrated. The fire element can be used to express your desire for intense and explosive transformation, but it's something you have to really be sure that you want before you put this out there to the universe. At the end of each spell that I write for the books, I come up with a very short chant that rhymes. And I'll just read this part to you really quickly. It's like I said, you got to really make sure you want this. I suggested that a person would list the top 3 things that they would like to change in their life and work with the energy of the firework instead of being unhappy about it. May my situation change, help me break free. May the fiery explosions ignite transformation for me. It's simple, it's short, it's sweet, but I think it gets to the point of wanting and desiring something to have an explosive change. You also need to make it very clear that you would like it to be a positive change. Be careful what you wish for.
I love that. That is awesome.
Thank you. I've written for so the 2021 and 2023 Witches Spell a Day. I'm currently writing for the 2025 Spell a Day, and I've also written for the 2020. Okay, hold on. 2022 and 2024 Witches Companion. So the 2024 Witches Companion, I wrote an article in there about water magic.
So cool.
I'm definitely very in touch with nature and all of the elements, and that's the way that my magic and my spirituality continues to grow and deepen. I think you're very in touch with nature as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How long have you been on your magical path?
Ooh. Well, it started when I was a little kid, and then of course, life and wanting to fit in, all that crap kind of muddied everything up for a long time. So it wasn't until after I retired from the Army until I grew up trying to figure out what I wanted to be, after retirement. It's like, that's when I started really delving into it. It's like, okay, who the heck am I? Who was I before the army?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I really didn't find my path until I was in my 40s. I I always had a feeling that I didn't fit in, but that's okay. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be unique. And I started meeting up with people at sort of like meetup events that had things in common with me. It was very refreshing to find other people that loved stones and crystals, for instance. I think that when you find more people that share similar interests, that's when life truly gets interesting.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily the common interests. I don't really have a lot of friends in town that are artists, but I connect with several of them online, and I'm always inspired to see what they share and how they share and what they're creating. And so I think that's kind of if somebody out there is feeling like they haven't found their tribe, so to speak, or their people, keep looking. They're out there. You're gonna find people that have things that are in common with you. You're not an island. You will find more. Just do things that inspire your heart and that you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and don't be afraid to think outside the box every now and then, or get rid of the box altogether.
Absolutely, absolutely. Believing that you will find the people that are perfectly matched to join you on the journey is part of it, and just understanding that it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And just like a dream, believing in a dream that may seem impossible, just continually working towards it. I have tried with some publishing companies, and no one has given me that yes yet. But every no gets me closer to the yes. I'm inspired by very successful people that have continually tried with whatever they were going for until they got the result that they want. Determination is a big part of it. I don't know if you ever knew this, but Stephen King, with the book Carrie, that turned into a very successful movie, he had been turned down by 80 publishers before he got a yes.
Dang, I
And
didn't know that.
some people may have given up after 20, or even 40. But if you really believe in yourself and you believe in something that you want to do and it really speaks to your heart, what do you have to lose? The only thing you would have is regret if you stop trying for what you really want.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And you were talking about how everyone's journey is their own, and you go on a whole lot of journeys.
Yes, when the time is right and when the stars align, I've had some opportunities to travel. I really, really am excited about traveling more in the future. But the very first trip that I did that was really life changing was back in 2018. I was able to travel with a women's spiritual retreat, and we went to Egypt.
Wow.
I it it was like a dream come true that I didn't think would ever be possible. I had always been interested in Egypt. I had never really imagined that I could actually go. When I went, it was the first time I had traveled that far by myself, and it was a very empowering experience. When you travel, you realize that you need to surrender to the process, know that it will not be like it is at home, and have as much grace as possible. I I was really excited because there were a lot of activities planned on the trip, and the first morning we went on a sunrise camel ride, and
Ooh.
then very shortly after, I was able to go inside of the Great Pyramid at Giza.
Wow.
And I didn't really think a lot about what we were going to do before we went. I didn't really research it much. I just wanted to experience the energy. And that's what worked really well for me. We actually went inside and walked in. The first thing I did in the pyramid was connect to the energy of the stones. And I touched the sides, and I touched, the above me, and put my hands on the stones. And we went up a very, very steep incline. Like it was like a wooden board with little slats where your feet would go. And we went up inside of the king's chamber.
Wow.
I will tell you that the king's chamber has black granite walls, and it's a very dimly lit area. Obviously, they've put in some lighting, modern day lighting, so you can see. The inside of the king's chamber, it, in my opinion, in my view, it's a harmonic resonance chamber. It is not anything to do with a burial. If it did have anything to do with that, there would be hieroglyphics everywhere. There would be statues and all these different little things that would go with a sarcophagus, but it was black granite. And when my spiritual guide, Ahmed, stood next to me, he made a sound of Om, and it came out in 2 tones from his mouth at the same time. And I looked over and I was like, you are not just a spiritual tour guide. He was a magical person, and he still is. But when he chanted Om in there in a very light tone, it resonated and it vibrated that entire chamber. And it was just magnificent. I also had a chance to lay inside of a part in that king's chamber called, I think they call it a lidless coffin. I don't know that that's really what it is, but anyway, when I got inside of it and I was able to lay down in that, I could feel energy from below my body go through my body and out above me. And when I got home, I looked it up, and that lidless coffin in the chamber is directly in alignment with that pyramid.
Oh, wow.
And that I felt that go through me 2 or 3 times before I got out. It was a very healing feeling. It was an amazing experience. I can't really describe what it felt like exactly, but it was something that I needed, and I'm so grateful for the experience. We went to several different temples. The other place that I had a really, really magical experience was at the temple of Philae. It's Philae. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's a temple that's dedicated to goddess Isis. And I had a really magical thing happen in the room, in the middle temple type room with a stone altar. If you don't mind me telling you, all the other girls were wearing like a certain color for unity and for photographs and whatnot. I didn't want to do that. I wore my own color. But they had all been around this stone altar in that middle room. And once they were gone, I had wound my way over there, and there was that spiritual tour guide again. And he was in there by himself. He didn't say a word to me. I didn't say a word to him. As I walked in, he just nodded as if, yes, enter. And when I was in that room, I had a selenite crystal that I had brought with me that was in the shape of an arrow. One of my intentions for the journey, besides experiencing the magic, was I wanted it to help me find a new sense of direction. Mm-hmm. And I just instinctively put my right arm out with the selenite in it with the arrow, and I put my left arm out as well. And I walked around that stone altar in a clockwise direction. Mm-hmm. And once I had completed the circle, I felt something open up within me. And it sounds like something out of a movie. It doesn't sound real, but it was real, and it was valid, and it was very magical. And I was just so incredibly grateful to get to experience that and to just soak up the energies of that ancient place. Mm-hmm. It was very, very meaningful to me. I think that if anyone has a chance to travel, no matter where it is in the world, do it. it really opens your eyes and makes you understand more about other cultures and other people. And, you know, I could just keep blabbing on and on about Egypt. I got this tattoo about a year before I went, and you can see it there, right?
Yes.
Eye of Horus, Eye of Ra, that sort of protection, um, magic, royalty, all those things. It was just one of those, you know, I got it and then I got to go a year later. It just felt like it was meant to be, you know?
Definitely. It sounds like you got activated in several different ways while you were there, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is one way of putting it for sure. It's I really almost didn't want to leave. I felt like I had been there before. And I know that some people aren't ready to accept or hear that, but for me, that's the truth. When I saw the pyramids for the first time, I felt like I had come home. It was just truly magnificent.
I've always wanted to go. That is definitely on my bucket list. I had made plans after my deployment in 2011, but there was a whole bunch of stuff going on over there, so it wasn't safe to travel there at the time. I was like,
They had a revolution during that year.
yeah, I was going to take my dad, and it wasn't meant to be at that time. Um, but since I started this journey, I've had visions and confirmation from my own spiritual teams like, hey, you've had a few past lives over there. It's like, oh, cool. Well, that explains the draw.
Yes, I completely agree with you. When you are really drawn to an area of the world that you probably didn't grow up in, it means that you had a decent past life there. I think the same goes for places that you may not be drawn to. You may not have had as great of an experience. But yeah, Egypt for me is definitely a place that I resonate with. The ancient magical energies. I can't wait to go back one day. I think that you would be very welcomed over there. I will tell you as well that when I traveled there, I made sure that I dressed in a way that was respectful to their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I had things that went down to my wrist, and I would wear dresses that went down to my ankles. And it made me feel good. And the other thing, like any time that someone travels, I think it's important to be able to say thank you in their language. And that is something that I've always, practiced. I remember when you say thank you in Arabic, Egyptian Arabic, it's shukran, and you can get instant respect from someone showing that you went to the trouble to be considerate of their culture and not just think that everything's going to be the way we do it, you know?
Yeah, or how it always is in the movies when you're, being a tourist and everything.
Yeah, I wanted to tread lightly, tread with, go there with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes a long way, you
Oh, it
know.
definitely does.
I also got to go to Istanbul in Greece on one trip. It was a very exciting adventure there as well. I remember sitting on like a subway type bus, whatever transport in the city, and I was practicing saying thank you back and forth with her, and she told me when I was saying it right. Istanbul was a magnificent city. It was really beautiful. Greece, we did get to go to the various temples. I went to the Oracle of Delphi,
Ooh.
and you know, they are all the different places are unique, and they definitely have their own energy. I enjoyed Egypt in my experience more just because it didn't seem like it was torn down as much as the the temples in Greece had been kind of dismantled more,
Oh yeah.
if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does. And they're actually trying to rebuild quite a few back to their original glory.
Yeah, yeah. But it was a magnificent adventure. That was 2018 and 2019 were the big years for travel for me. I'm hoping that the future will provide me opportunities to go to more places. And I'd love to teach my art classes in more places as well. That'd be exciting.
So where can people find you?
Where can people find me? Online, I first and foremost have a website called sapphiremoonbeam.com. It's my first and last name, so it's SAPPHIREMOONbeam. I am also I have a big page on Facebook. That's my biggest following. It's called Sapphire's Moonbeams. And at the moment, I've got about 238,000 people following me there. Wow. I send out good vibes every day, and I have every day for 12 years. And I tell people good morning. I tell them good night. I do it in a way that's creative. I don't always use just my art for that, but I always list the name of an artist or a photographer when I know it. That has helped open up a lot of opportunities for me, for people to see, you know, what I do. I have Twitter. I'm SS Moonbeam. I'm also SS Moonbeam on Instagram. I have a very small following on TikTok at this moment, but you know, you got to start somewhere. And but all of my places, I have about 265,000 people following me from around the world. And on Facebook, I've been able to track at least 45 countries. So yeah, it's I don't know anyone else doing it quite the way I'm doing it, but it does bring me a lot of joy to put out the positivity. I do think there are things that are kind of how do I say this? Information, technology, the news, it can be good to be connected, but there sometimes are things that we just get bombarded with that are not necessarily positive and as enriching to our spirit. And I try to be positive and enriching to others. And I send out the kind of energy that I would want to receive when I open up a news feed, because I think that we need more of that.
Definitely.
So I just started doing it several years ago. It was around the same time. It was right before 2011 when I started that. But it's been a really amazing way for me to network with people that are on a spiritual path or on a magical path or artists. It's helped connect me to more like-minded souls. And it's a great tool to be used for good if you decide to.
Oh yeah, and that's so needed right now. It really is.
Yes.
So anyone who's just starting out on whether it be a spiritual or magical or artistic path or anything like that, what advice would you give them?
Practice, practice, practice when it comes to art, and try not to be too self-critical. Just like Bob Ross would say, if it's a happy little accident, you know, find a way to work with it. And you're not necessarily going to find that you're good at everything. Nobody is, but just keep experimenting, try different techniques, paint outside, paint to music, paint with your favorite set of crystals around you, you know, paint with the sound of, you know, yoga, chanting, meditations, gongs, crystal bowls, you know, that sort of thing. Just change it and figure out what works best for you. Flow with it. Try not to force. When it comes to creativity, it's going to come out in a much more beautiful way if you let it flow and you go and work with the energies. I think that's something to be said about life as well. And keep believing in yourself. Don't give up. Keep going and keep walking towards what you want. Even if you're not where you think you want to be right now, it doesn't matter. It's part of the journey, and it's part of the experience to show the universe you're serious about your dream. You're determined. You will be persistent, and you will continue until you reach that next milestone. And then you're going to continue until you go for more, you know. Never stop reaching, dreaming, believing. It may sound corny to some people, but it's part of the element of success. Believing that you have something very valuable to add to the world, because you do.
To me, that works wonderfully with magic too, because where we put our focus, where we put our will, is what we're manifesting.
Right. And also though, the key when in my experience is to know that when you manifest, it does not mean that it comes on your timetable.
Right.
You have to trust in the universe and the timing for things to be right. I can tell you that when I wait to plant my flower garden, for instance, when the conditions are more right for my area, when it's warmer, when the chance of frost is gone, and there's going to be more sunshine, and when the conditions are right, it will bloom and grow in its time. You cannot, when you plant a seed in nature, or a flower, whatever it may be, and you nurture it and you water it and you pull out the weeds, it will get there, but you cannot tell that seed when to bloom. You cannot tell the green little, the little stalk to come out of the earth. It
Mm-hmm.
happens when it happens. That, and I think in a world where we have a lot of instant access, instant gratification, sometimes it's hard to wait for that opportune moment for something to become a thing. I this is a different subject, but I also wanted to tell you, I have a degree in psychology as well, a bachelor's degree in psychology, but the first major that I had in college was journalism. And I always did think I was going to write, but I didn't know obviously how. I switched my degree at some point, but when I wanted to be a journalist, I thought I was going to write for Rolling Stone. I do love music, and let's see. Oh yeah, the reason I brought that up, sorry, it was like seeing something shiny in my brain. My creative brain sometimes is all over the place, but the path that I was trying to travel and tell you here is I also have very slowly but surely in the works a fairy tale story that I'm writing. I've just gotten little glimpses and flashes and a few little downloads for it. So it's going to take some time, but I know that the story that I'm creating is going to be good. It's going to be something that's entertaining, has a little bit of wisdom thrown in, like a good fairy tale does, or a moral of the story. And it's going to be very nature inspired, and I'm excited about it.
I can feel the excitement. I'm feeling like we have a whole lot of guides, around us right now, and a lot of them are like, "Ee, this is good. This is so
And
good."
speaking about this in a very public way helps roll it into existence even sooner, of course. But I just have to be patient with myself. There's only so much time to write, there's only so much time to paint, make jewelry, that sort of thing. It
Mhm.
just happens when it happens. You just got to flow with it.
Yeah, and figuring out the best balance for prioritizing, work and play, and well, I mean,
Right.
a lot of the creative stuff is play anyways.
It is. And allowing yourself time to play for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I I really appreciate this opportunity to speak with you and you helping me get the word out about what I do to others. And I will be happy to share this video with the people that follow me as well, so that we can, cross network, with the people that follow us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you. It was absolutely wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you. I wish you all the best. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday and time with your family.
You too. Thank you so much.
Be well.